You guys know that I'm a huge fan of the Sony NEX line, so today I'm going to tell you why I think the Sony NEX 5R is one of the best entry-level cameras for YouTube and social media. For those who've been with me for a while, you know that I'm a huge fan of the Sony NEX series of cameras. Some people would say that they're the forerunners to the Alpha line cameras, but they actually are Alpha line cameras. They carry the Alpha A, denoting they're from Sony's Alpha division. I've used these cameras on several feature films, using them as both A and B cameras. While they don't have 4K, IBIS, or external microphone jacks, they do have great autofocus and that low light that Sony's known for. In fact, one of the big deals about the NEX F3 was its low light, which carried over into the later cameras such as the NEX 5T and this one, the NEX 5R. Now, if you get this camera, you're going to need two things. An external audio source. Here I'm using an H4n, but I typically suggest using H1n, mainly because of ease of use. And you're probably going to want an OSS lens, which is a lens with optical steady shot. That's just Sony's name for lens stabilization. And while it won't give you Panasonic G5 stabilization, something's better than nothing. My suggestion is the 16-50 OSS kit lens. There's a lot of them around, and you can find them for cheap on eBay. And there's tons of reviews of this lens right here on YouTube, so you can check those out. I might do one myself later on. Now, this lens typically goes for about $100 or under on eBay. The 16mm prime lens tends to go for $120 to $150. I have both of them, but that's simply because I've had the 16mm for a long time now. The benefit of the 16mm prime is that it starts at an aperture of f2.8, while the OSS lens starts at an aperture of 3.5. If you're going to be doing talking head type videos or filmmaking, I get the 16mm prime. But if you're going to be vlogging, definitely get the OSS lens. You can go pretty far with this lens alone. And if you are vlogging with this camera, you're going to want to get one of these little Gorilla Pods. It'll get your hand off of the camera and give you a little bit more distance so you can have more of you in the scene. Also, getting your hand off the camera will help reduce micro jitters. Now, this camera does have two very nice stereo microphones. You don't necessarily have to get external audio for vlogging. You can get windjammers and put them on top of each microphone. But no matter what, eventually you're going to need something to capture external audio. If you can afford it, you might as well get it. If not, get the windjammers. Now, the reason I suggest these cameras for people who want to get into YouTube and social media but don't have a lot of money is because of their specs. This camera has a 16.1 megapixel APS size sensor, tiny but well-placed dedicated movie button, and just like the F3 and 5T, this camera has the highly desired flip screen. Another thing you're going to need are a bunch of these. NPFW 50s. The NEX series, the 5000 series, and the 6000 series take these batteries with the exception of the A6600. These batteries are easy to find, plus there's a lot of companies that make cheaper versions of these batteries. Wasabi Power used to be the big company that did it, and now I guess these guys, Caster, they're kind of coming up now, so I have a few of theirs as well as the Wasabi Power. Both brands have been pretty good so far. And with all those batteries, you're going to need a charger. This is a Power Extra charger, and Power Extra is another company that makes these kind of batteries. And like the other companies, they usually have some kind of deal where you can get the batteries and a charger. This is their charger. Now, Sony has this thing called a smart terminal. And basically, you can plug accessories into this terminal. And one of the accessories you can plug in there is indeed a microphone. But it's proprietary. And it only works with Sony cameras with this smart terminal system. And you can get this off of Amazon. I'll drop an affiliate link down there. But realistically, you can get it cheaper off of eBay. And this sets on top of your camera, so you wouldn't be able to use your flip screen. With a camera like the A6300 or something like that, you would be able to use a cold shoe extender and put the microphone off to the side of your camera. This is proprietary, so yeah, it has to go directly into that terminal. So now for you Instagram models and social media mavens, you want to get some really nice photos on something other than your cell phone. Well, this is also the camera for you, because this camera has something that my NEX F3 didn't have, and that's Wi-Fi capability. I can send photos from this camera to my phone and then post them on any social media platform of my choice. Now, I did this on my RX100, but the setup is pretty much the same. You're going to need the Sony Imaging Edge app, and that will allow you to connect with your phone, and you can shoot those images right over. Now, technically, this camera isn't supported, but I tried it, and it does work. And as you can see, my 5R is connected to the app. And if you want to learn how to use the Sony Imaging Edge app, I did a video about it, so I'll link to it at the end of the video. Now, with all that being said, your setup shouldn't cost more than $400, and it probably shouldn't cost that much because a lot of people will sell these cameras with lenses. Now, the reason I didn't suggest the NEX F3, which in some cases can be found for under $100, is because it lacks the internet capabilities. And I figured if you're going to be using this for YouTube and social media, you're going to want that connectivity where you can get those photos on your phone so you can get them up on your various platforms as quickly as possible. And don't forget, you're going to want to do your thumbnails and your other marketing for your channel. So, you're going to want to have an actual camera. Also, if you're into photo editing, this camera does shoot raw photos. So it does do that. It doesn't do raw video, obviously, but it will take raw photos. And just in case you didn't know, this camera is an E-mount camera, so any E-mount lenses will fit on here. You might not have access to all the advanced features, but you will have some decent autofocus on here, actually. It's actually better than my Panasonic G7, so yeah, it's still Sony autofocus, and it's still decent. All right, guys, so I'm just going to go ahead and sum it up for you, put it all together, why you should buy this camera if you're looking to start a YouTube channel, but you got that tight budget, price to quality ratio. You're getting great quality, and that's image quality, as well as what you can do with the camera. You can use the camera for vlogging. You can also use it as a studio camera. You can switch it up and do either of those things. You could also make films with this camera. You've seen I've used this camera, as I said before, a cam and a B, not this particular camera, but cameras from this line of cameras as both an A cam and B cam. So they're that good. And I didn't mention this, but this camera does do 1080p at 60 frames per second, so you can get that slow motion if you want it. The autofocus, okay, so you're getting good autofocus. Now, you're not getting stuff on the level of the A6600. No, that's a $1,000 camera. But if you're just starting out and you're a one-man or one-woman band, you're going to need that autofocus. Trust me, it does do its job. And on top of that, of course, you get that Sony low light. Now, it's not A7 III in the dark low light, but these cameras were marketed on their low light capability. And yeah, it's good. You also get the flip screen. You can see yourself, see what you're doing, frame your shots and everything, particularly if you're vlogging. You also get the E-mount system. If you stay in the Sony ecosystem, let's just say you go from here and you go and maybe grab an A5100, or you go and get a A6300 or an A6400, or even an A6600. Those lenses will still fit on that camera. So you're in that ecosystem now, and you can use those E-mount lenses. And there's a lot of E-mount lenses out there. They're not the cheapest lenses, but you can get some decent ones. The 2.8 lenses tend to be decently cheap, but you get that OSS kit lens, that can take you pretty far if you know what you're doing. And finally, Wi-Fi connectivity. If you can't afford a $1,000 phone, you can still get some quality images up on your social media with this camera. Just transfer those images from your camera to your phone using the free Sony Imaging Edge app. The high quality pictures that you took with your camera are now on your phone or tablet. And those are the reasons why you should get this camera if you want to start YouTube and you're on a tight budget. All right, guys, you take it easy. Nathan Brendan Masters. I hope that helps somebody out. There will be some links in the description. I'm not going to put a link for this camera in the description. I think this camera has been discontinued, but it does live on eBay, so you want to grab one from there. But I will leave links for other things that you might find useful in the description. So you guys take it easy. Nathan Brendan Masters. Hasta.
Don't look back, we're here to stay. A life we knew would come one day. And this is it, the borderline to where the future leaves us behind. The fire will burn.